Oh, Jamar Chase with the dive. Because Garrett Wilson's wide open. Garrett Wilson, touchdown Bears. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video here on the Water Juice channel, and welcome back to another super cool, super interesting, awesome video that I got for you guys today. As you saw from the title and from the thumbnail, I grabbed the 2015 Panthers. I physically put my greasy little mitts on the 2015 Panthers and I plucked them from that era and I placed them in the modern day. And we're going to see just how good that team can be in the modern NFL. Now, we all know this team. This is the team that went to the Super Bowl and got blown out by the Broncos. This is the game in the Super Bowl where the infamous play where Cam Newton fumbles the football and chooses not to dive on the ball and they turn it over. Infamous play. This is also the season where Cam Newton wins the MVP. This was a really good Panthers team. Luke Kuechly, Greg Olsen, Thomas Davis Sr., Josh Norman at the peak of his powers. Like, this is a very, very good football team. And we are going to find out if they can be that good even in the modern day. So if you enjoy this video and you want to see more videos like it, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, join the Juice Club, and let's find out if Cam Newton can do it again. So here we are in the modern era, 2022, but with the 2015 Carolina Panthers. As you can see, we are a 91 offense, 88 defense, and an 89 overall squad. Our head coach is Ronald Rivera. Yes, Ronald Rivera. We have to be Ronald because obviously Ron Rivera is currently head coaching the Washington Commanders. So we have to be Ronald, but it's still the same. It's his evil twin, okay? If I could have put an evil mustache on him, I would have. It's his evil twin coaching the Carolina Panthers. But let's take a look at what this roster is comprised of. We've got some big names. We've got MVP Cam Newton, 97 overall X Factor, Jonathan Stewart in the backfield. The wide receiving core was a little lackluster, but hey, they got the job done until obviously the Super Bowl. Kelvin Benjamin, Jericho Cotchery, Devin Funches, Ted Ginn Jr., one of my personal favorites. They don't got a lot of weapons, but we'll see how they do. Offensive line, you've got Michael Orr, Andrew Norwell, Ryan Khalil, Trey Turner, and Mike Remmers. And then you've got Greg Olsen as the tight end. That is your Carolina offense. And by the way, if you're curious, we are running Washington Commanders playbooks on offense and defense because Ron Rivera is the head coach of the Commanders. So I felt like it would make the most continuity if we would run Ron Rivera's playbooks. So I'm sure they haven't changed that much. So Ron Rivera's playbooks are what we are running here. On defense, we've got Kawan Short, or Kawan Short, I guess is how you pronounce it. We've got Luke Kuechly, Thomas Davis. It's not Thomas Davis Sr. at this point, but it's still the same guy. Shaq Thompson, Trey Boston, Kurt Coleman, Josh Norman, like I mentioned, at the peak of his powers. This is a good team, and we'll see just how good this team can be in the modern day NFL. Now that you've got like quarterbacks like Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert, Joe Burrow, Josh Allen. Those guys weren't in the NFL when this team was doing its thing, back when they were banging. So how is this new era, these new generation of quarterbacks, going to compete with Cam Newton? We'll find out. We're going to simulate a few seasons, see where everything falls, and see how good this Carolina Panthers team would be in 2023. I'll see you guys at the playoffs, and I'm assuming we're going to make it because this division sucks. So I'm assuming we're going to be in the playoffs just regardless by winning the division. But we'll find out. I'll see you guys then. After the first season's been finished, we finished 14-3, won the division, and obviously were the number one seed in the entire NFC because we're not playing on Wild Card Sundays, so we will simulate to the divisional round, and it looks like this team from 2015 didn't miss a beat. they got plopped in, and they're still just as good as they were when they were in their prime in 2015 when they went to the Super Bowl. Now, some could argue that they probably should have won that Super Bowl instead of Peyton Manning and the Denver Broncos, but we're going to guarantee a win for this first game against the Rams in the divisional round. I think this team has got what it takes. Now watch me eat my words there with that one. But let's take a look at some of these stats. How did Cam Newton play in this new era that he's in? And with these new playbooks and all that stuff. So Cam Newton threw for 4,600 yards, 35 touchdowns, and 13 interceptions. That's a fantastic number. Fantastic stats from Cam Newton, as you would expect from the MVP of 2015. Rushing, we had Jonathan Stewart have 1,300 yards and 16 touchdowns. Man, that's a great season from him. Receiving-wise, Kelvin Benjamin had 1,200 yards and 9 touchdowns. Greg Olsen had 1,000 yards and 8 touchdowns. Jericho Cotchery almost got to 1,000 yards and also had 8 touchdowns as well. 6 touchdowns and 800 yards for Ted Ginn Jr. as well. Defensively, we've got Luke Kuechly, as you would expect, 127 tackles, just a tackle machine. Shaq Thompson also 122, sack and a half. Josh Norman had 89, only 2 interceptions. I thought he'd have a little bit more than that. Charles Tillman, Peanut Tillman, 85 tackles for him. Trey Boston had 84. Thomas Davis had 79, and look at that sack number for Thomas Davis. That is an insane number. Kawan Short had 13 and a half, but Thomas Davis as a linebacker had 12 and a half sacks. That's crazy. Usually you don't get that from non-pass rushing linebackers like Micah Parsons, TJ Watt, those kind of linebackers get these numbers, but Thomas Davis, not really a pass, he's kind of a balanced guy. He pass rushed a little bit, he can play coverage, he can do it all, but 12 and a half is very good. Charles Johnson had 9 and a half. Very good numbers on the defense with the sacks. Interception leaders, Kuechly had 3, Shaq Thompson had 2, so did Norman and Cortland Finnegan. Peanut had 1 as well. So that is your numbers for the first season, the 8th overall offense in the NFL, but we've got some business to take care of. Are we going to beat the LA Rams and head to the NFC title game? I've already guaranteed a win, so did I just call my shot or did I jinx us? We won 20-10. Thank you. I really didn't want to jinx myself and not win that game. Some upgrades for Kelvin Benjamin, which is awesome. I'm expecting this team to be pretty good for the next couple of seasons that we're going to be simulating. The first of many we can go back and win. And I'm expecting this team to win the division basically every single season because this division is not that great. I mean, Tampa did win 12 games, you may have noticed. But for the most part, they're not the greatest division to be in, so it's kind of, we got to benefit here. But now we're taking on the 12-5 Cowboys. Can we win this and go to the Super Bowl? It's going to be tough. Cowboys always do well in simulation. And the Dallas Cowboys lose 45-21. We are taking on the Bills in the Super Bowl. So instead of Peyton Manning, it is Josh Allen. The unathletic Josh Allen. Okay. Very interesting. Quite the different challenge that this Panthers team is going to have to face instead of the Broncos team that they faced in their Super Bowl. I think we can get it done. I think we can get her done. We can win a Super Bowl. And we can go keep simulating, knowing that we've won a Super Bowl. Let's go advance the Super Bowl. The 9-8 Bills, they're not even that great, but they're on some sort of Cinderella run. Are we going to be one-time champs? Can Cam Newton do it? What's going to happen here? Cam Newton and the Carolina Panthers are your Super Bowl champions. Yes, sir. That's what I'm talking about. The 2015 Panthers come into the modern day and they win the Super Bowl in year number 1. That is crazy. That is actually crazy that they did that. Season recap, Thomas Davis, he must have had a fumble recovery or a pick six or something like that because he is your Super Bowl MVP. Tom Brady wins the MVP of the league on the Buccaneers. Ronald Rivera, our coach, is the coach of the year. Cooper Kupp and TJ Watt are the players of the year. And Garrett Wilson and Sauce Gardner are the rookies of the year. So that is your season wrap-up. Now we just got to keep this team together. We're probably not going to spend our money in free agency. because this is an episode or a video about the 2015 Panthers. So I don't really want to like add new players to the roster that weren't around in 2015 or weren't on the team in 2015. So I think the only thing that I'm going to do is re-sign players. We have $80 million, and we have a few guys. I did re-sign a few guys during the simulation, but we have a few guys that we need to bring back. Unfortunately, none of them want to come back, or at least the big ones don't want to come back, so we're probably going to have to overpay for them. But I do want to bring them back, and then we'll just like simulate the draft, because the draft isn't really what we care about. So I'm going to go and try to re-sign all these guys if I can, and then I'll catch you guys at the draft. Okay, so I brought back as many people as I could, and now we can take a look at the draft recap. I just simulated the draft because the draft doesn't really matter at this point. It's not about the draft. It's about the players that were on the team in 2015. It looks like we drafted a 78 overall running back and a 73 overall strong safety, but other than that, everybody was kind of mid to bad. But I didn't want to back out there. I do want to see, was this like a good draft class? Is there like a crazy like 82 overall player or something like that? How good was this draft class? Because I didn't even take a look at it at all. I have no idea who was in this class. It looks like that there's not. It looks like, yeah, we got the highest overall player at 32 in the first round. Awesome. Cool. I don't really care, but that's awesome to do. So now we have to simulate to the regular season, make sure everything is ready to go, and then we'll simulate another year. I think we'll probably go 3 seasons since we've already won a Super Bowl in year 1. I think we'll probably take 3 years of simulations to see how good this Panthers team can be in the modern day. So I will see you guys at the regular season week 1 after I get all the preseason roster and everything figured out. Okay, we made it to week 1. Let's take a look at what the year 2 Carolina Panther roster looks like as we try to go back-to-back and win another Super Bowl. We've got Cam Newton obviously still at a 99 overall, just unbelievable. Still Jonathan Stewart, Kelvin Benjamin, Ted Ginn, Devin Funches. The offensive line is still the same. We're looking pretty good there. Greg Olsen's now an X Factor. I didn't even realize that. And then on defense, we've got Kuechly, who went down to superstar, but Thomas Davis went up to Superstar X Factor. Kawan Short went up to Superstar. Craziness is happening here in this second season. We'll see how everything goes. We will simulate. I didn't mean to click on Star Lotu Lele, but we are going to simulate to the playoffs. Hopefully we can win the Super Bowl again. I mean, we did it in year 1. Why not do it in year 2? It's the exact same team. So let's do it again. I will see you guys at the playoffs, hopefully with good news. We've made it to the midseason mark of year 2, and we sit at 6-1. This team is getting even better. We lost 2 games at the midseason mark last year, and now we've lost 1 game at the midseason mark this year, with our first loss coming actually last week against the Texans. This team is doing very well, and since we're playing so well, the morale is up. The overalls are skyrocketing. I mean, Cam Newton's already a 99 overall, but we've got Jonathan Stewart playing up. Kelvin Benjamin's playing up. The offensive line is killing it. I'm sure the defense is dominating as well. I mean, Luke Kuechly's got 2 upgrade points we can't even use. Kawan Short's a 95 overall. This team is killing the game, and I'm expecting us to be division champs for the 2nd straight year, Super Bowl champs for the 2nd straight year. I guess we'll find out. I will see you guys at the playoffs. We've made it to the playoffs, and we are 14-3, absolutely just dominating this simulation. And at one point when I was going through re-signing all the players to keep them around, we were 8-1. So we were absolutely killing it. We obviously are the 1 seed again in the NFL, in the NFC, so we are not playing wildcard weekend. We can go straight to the divisional round and take on whoever it may be. It is the San Francisco 49ers. What a matchup. But we got to take a look at these year 2 stats and see how good Cam Newton was, how good Luke Kuechly was. We got to take a look because we are having a phenomenal time here. And it looks like nobody really special. Jonathan Stewart finished second in the rushing yards, which is good to know, but Cam Newton kind of had a safer year in terms of his passing. 4,500 yards is still very good. 45 touchdowns and 12 picks. He's killing the game. Rushing wise, 1,700 yards and 17 touchdowns for Jonathan Stewart. That's good enough for second place in the entire NFL. And Cam Newton had 3 touchdowns and 200 yards on the ground as well. 3 1,000-yard receivers. Greg Olsen with 1,000 and 10 touchdowns. Ted Ginn with 1,000 finally and 11 touchdowns. And Kelvin Benjamin had 1,000 and 9 touchdowns. It's nice to see Kelvin Benjamin actually play good instead of in real life where he was just a complete waste of roster spot. Defensively, I'm expecting Luke Kuechly to be at the top, and he is. 157 tackles is insane. Shaq Thompson followed up with 107. 80 tackles for Josh Norman. We had 10 tackles for a loss for Luke Kuechly as well. And then you had sack leaders. Who led in sacks? It is 20 for Charles Johnson. Jeez, that's crazy. Thomas Davis had 14.5 after what, having 12.5 last year? So he bumps it up. Star Lotulelei had 9.5. Short had 8.5. Crazy amounts of pressure we're getting on these boys. And then Charles Tillman, he had 1 last year. Now he's got 5. Peanut Tillman is going crazy. Absolutely insane numbers. He didn't force any fumbles, which is not realistic, as Peanut Tillman was always punching the football out. That's why we call it the Peanut Tillman punch. And already Ronald Rivera has moved up to number 9 on the legacy leaderboard because he's the best coach of all time. He's the best coach of all time. Now, can the streak continue? We were undefeated in the playoffs, won the Super Bowl. Can we continue that against the 49ers? I wouldn't be shocked. Yeah, I was going to say, I wouldn't be shocked if this is a loss. And it is. We lose 31-21 against the 49ers. So year 2 is a failure. We can't defend our crown. We can't win back-to-back championships. But hey, we've already won one, so this video is technically a success, seeing if the Panthers from 2015 would do well. They've already won a Super Bowl, so technically it's a check. They have won, or they have done well in the modern era, but we will go one more season. We have, and the 49ers are actually in the Super Bowl. We have won one, lost one. What's the final? This is the tiebreaker. This is what's going to happen. This will decide if it's super success or just a normal success. If we can win 2 out of 3, that would be awesome. I don't know, but I am going to, I'll pick the Titans as the Super Bowl winners just because I don't want to see the team that beat us win the Super Bowl. We'll see what happens. It is going to be the Titans 42-35 over the San Francisco 49ers. Now I'm going to go and re-sign the rest of the players. I'm not sure who's left because I re-signed all the big names before we got to this point. But I'm not sure who is left. We can take a quick look at the season recap. I don't think we won any awards or anything. Ryan Tannehill is the MVP of the league. We did win Coach of the Year again, which is cool. Rodgers wins MVP of the league. Cooper Kupp and Aaron Donald are your offense-defense players of the year. And Zach Duffy, quarterback of the Lions, Zion Shorts, outside linebacker for the Cardinals, are the rookies of the year for offense and defense. Very interesting, very, very interesting. Still no MVPs for Cam Newton, but that's okay because we got one more season for Cam Newton to get the job done. So I will see you guys at the draft. Well, at the draft recap, technically. And we will go from there, get ready for the final simulation, final season. And hopefully we can go 2 for 3. That's the goal. That is the absolute goal, going 2 for 3. But we got $17 million in cap space to re-sign whoever else is here. I don't really know. We've got AJ Klein, who I might bring back if we have the space. But everybody else we don't really need to bring back. Cameron Arden-Payne, we don't really need him. So I guess we'll just spend the money on AJ Klein, and then we will go from there. So let's see. We might have to overpay for AJ because he does not want to be here. So I'll give him like 5.5 and probably 5. And we'll see what he says. That's a good offer. He's done. So that's perfect. We can get out of here now. And we've re-signed everybody that we want to re-sign. So I will see you guys at draft recap with whoever we drafted. Okay, we finished simulating the draft. Let's take a look at who we drafted. I don't know. Maybe we'll get the highest overall player in this draft as well. We drafted that running back last year. And it looks like we drafted 274s. a right end, and a corner. Okay, that's pretty solid. Everybody else is kind of buns, kind of cheeks, but it's all right. Don't really care about that. And then the best player in the class. Was this a good draft? It looks like it was a fine draft. 79 is the highest. The first overall pick was a 78. It was an okay draft. Nothing special. Nothing special. But that is okay because we move to the final season of simulation. We've won a Super Bowl. We've lost in the playoffs. We haven't won a Super Bowl. So we've got one more year. I re-signed everybody. It's the same gang that it was at the very first episode or the very first simulation. So, and we're facing in preseason the team that we beat in the year one Super Bowl. So it is the exact same team. We're still working. Jonathan Stewart's up to superstar. We've got Trey Turner, who's a superstar as well. So those are some notable changes I'm seeing. On defense, Kuechly's back up to X Factor. Kawan Short is an X Factor. Oh, this team's good. This team's goated. Absolutely goated. I can't wait to see how good we are in simulation in the final season. But I will see you guys at the playoffs, unless obviously we get to the midseason mark and something cool has happened, like we're undefeated or something. Then I'll show you guys that. But for the majority, I'll probably see you guys at the playoffs. Okay, so I forgot to show you guys the roster for the beginning of the season, for the final season. So I won't see you guys at the playoffs. I'll see you guys now so that we can see the final thing. I know we took a look at it in the preseason screen, but now this is the official roster for the final season. We are in week 1. This team looks super, super good. I'm super excited about where this team is going to go. And now I will see you guys at the playoffs. We've made it to the playoffs of year 3, the final season, and we actually did a little bit worse. We only won 12 games instead of 14 games. We still did win the division for the 3rd straight year, so that's one of the goals checked off. We are playing in Wild Card Weekend against the Giants. How bad did we do to where we only won 12 games? What are the stats looking like for the boys? Cam Newton, he threw for 4,500 yards, 37 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. So his touchdowns went down a little bit, but his interceptions also went down. His yards are about the same as what he had. That's still a very solid season from Cam. And an amazing season from Jonathan Stewart. He went from 1,700 yards last year to 1,600 yards this year and 14 touchdowns. Cam also added 5 rushing touchdowns. Receiving 3 more 1,000-yard receivers. Kelvin Benjamin had 1,105 touchdowns. Greg Olsen had 1,000 yards and 3 touchdowns, and Philly Brown had 1,000 yards and 11 touchdowns. Philly Brown was the touchdown merchant this season. Gotta respect it. Gotta love Philly Brown, man. Him and Pittsburgh Brown, the best duo ever. Shaq Thompson finally overtook Luke Kuechly for tackle leader. 119 for him. 110 for Luke Kuechly, so he wasn't too far behind. Nick Johnson had 88, the rookie from Michigan that we drafted. He was like a 70-something overall or something, so he's pretty good. Josh Norman has 74, but no interceptions. Very interesting from Josh. Maybe he was too busy getting stiff-armed by Derrick Henry. 70 tackles for Thomas Davis, 18 sacks. This has been the most shocking piece of this entire simulation, is seeing Thomas Davis get this many sacks. What do you have, like 12 and a half first year, 14 and a half last year, and now 18 sacks this year? That's crazy. He had to have won Defensive Player of the Year, unless somebody had even better numbers. Kawan Short also had 13 and a half, crazy. 5 for Charles Johnson. And then what are the interception numbers looking like? Kurt Coleman had 4, very good. Johnson had 3, and then a couple guys had 1. Very interesting numbers from the Carolina Panthers. But can we run the gauntlet? Can we go from wild card to the Super Bowl? This is our last chance. We're taking on the Giants. They're 9-8. We won the division. Can we beat the Giants? Come on, boys. We gotta do it. We got to do it for the culture. There it is, 31-28. We're taking on the Dallas Cowboys, who we beat in year 1 in the NFC title game. So can we do it here? In the divisional, against the 11-win Cowboys, we lose 35-31, so we will not win 2 Super Bowls in this simulation. That's okay. We at least won 1, which was what I wanted to do. I wanted to at least win a Super Bowl in this series or in this episode, so that it would prove that the Carolina Panthers in 2015 could come into the modern day and still dominate, and they did. They won 14 games 2 years in a row, and then won 12 the final season. So that's just phenomenal numbers. I mean, that's crazy, crazy numbers. And they won the division 3 straight years, won a Super Bowl. Cam, unfortunately, never won an MVP. We did win Coach of the Year. I'm expecting all 3 years. Actually, we probably didn't win it this year. It's Chiefs and Falcons in the Super Bowl. We probably didn't win the Coach of the Year this year because we won 12 games instead of 14, and we weren't the 1 seed. So I'm guessing whoever was the 1 seed in the NFC or AFC, whoever had the best record, probably won Coach of the Year. But we did a lot of stuff. We had great seasons with Cam Newton. He threw for a ton of yards. He even rushed for a good amount of yards and stuff. We had surprising seasons from Thomas Davis, from Jonathan Stewart, who ended up being a super stud at the running back position. Kelvin Benjamin played well. Let's find out what the season recap is for the final year. It is Patrick Mahomes is your MVP. The Falcons coach Lynn Wagner does win Coach of the Year, so we don't win anything there, and we don't win any awards. Derek Carr wins MVP. Chubb and Garrett are your offense and defense players of the year, and then Jamar Cummings from the Texans, the quarterback from a couple years ago, or from last year, wins Rookie of the Year, and then Cedric Howard, a right end for the Raiders, wins the Defensive Rookie of the Year. So, unfortunately, we didn't win any awards, no MVPs for Cam, nothing like that, but we got a couple Coach of the Years, we won the division all 3 years, and we won a Super Bowl, which is the key part. So I guess that answers the question, how well would the Carolina Panthers do if you took them from 2015 and put them in the modern day? I'd say a Super Bowl in 3 seasons, and there's still promise because you still got a lot of young players, a lot of good guys on good contracts. There's still a lot of promise for this team. So if we were to continue simulating, I wouldn't expect us to be any worse than what we have been already, which is I would expect making the playoffs every year and being a Super Bowl contender. So if you guys enjoyed this type of video and you want to see more of this type of video where I take a team from a certain era or a certain year and plop them into the modern day, maybe like the 2007 Patriots or the 2000 Ravens, or name your team, whatever team you want to see, leave it down below in the comments. I'd be interested and curious to see what you guys have to say. If you enjoyed, leave it a like, subscribe to the channel, join the Juice Club. Thank you so much for stopping by and watching. I truly appreciate it, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.